In this video, we're going to cover size and contrast. We're going to look at size, color contrast, and even font weight to change the level of importance or the hierarchy of certain elements in our designs. First up is size. So it's obvious that when you have a larger element, it's going to look more important than a smaller one, as you can see here with this abnormally large button. So this brings up the level of importance. We want to make sure when working with size, the level of importance actually makes sense. So if we use the previous example of the two buttons, we have one large and one small. This is the incorrect way to do this because they're both two buttons. We can't have them different sizes because it just doesn't make any sense because they're both button elements. So we can make them the same size, but also use color contrast to show the level of importance, as the by is the primary button and this would be the secondary button. So we wouldn't want to do this example over here with size. We would instead want to use a different method to show the level of importance. We'll get more into that later. Next up is user experience. You also want to consider this when working with size and elements. Apple recommends a 44 point by 44 point hit area on like a phone screen or a tablet to make sure that the users can actually click on a button. So here we have two buttons and they're at least 44 points tall and wide. Therefore, the finger of the user can click on it easily. So that wraps up size. Now we're going to take a look at color contrast. So on the right here, we have two buttons. One looks more important because it is darker, and the other one looks less important, or a secondary button, because it's just a little bit lighter. So when you're using a light background, you want to make sure you're using darker colors to display a higher level of hierarchy or more important things. So here we have a heading, and the heading is a darker black than this darker gray that we're using on the body text. Therefore, it looks more important, which a heading should. Next up is the dark background or a dark theme design. You want to do the exact opposite. You want to make sure you're using lighter colors to display the hierarchy. So here we have the header as a solid white, and then this is a lighter opaque white or just a gray color. Therefore, it's making the heading stand out as it should. Now when we use the same color, so we're going to go back to the first example I showed you earlier with the buy and cancel button. Here we're using the same color because they're two elements that are the same size, and so we need to distinguish which one's a primary and secondary button in some kind of way. So we're going to use the color contrast by showing the buy having more blue, and then the cancel button just having the highlights or the outline and just the text color as blue. So therefore, this looks more of the primary or main button. So that's it for size and color contrast. Now we're going to look at font weight. So here I have two purple-blue headings here, and they're both the same font size and the same color, but one is a different weight, therefore making the one on top look more important. So that's pretty obvious using bold for headings and usually a regular weighted font for other things like body text. But what if we want to use a light typeface? Well, when using a light typeface, it's really easy to do for a modern look. All you have to do is just make sure the heading that you're using it on is larger than the other elements, like the body text here in this example. So this is still taking the priority of main importance over the body because it is larger. So that's therefore allowing us to use this lighter typeface. Now you want to make sure you use these sparingly. You don't want to use them too much, mainly for headings and this exact example that I'm showing here. Lastly, I just want to cover a little trick that you can do on your links. You can also use like a medium or a semi-bold, just as kind of a smaller detail just to make them stand out a little bit more. It works when you have a colored link and also when your link is just black and white. So that's it for size and contrast. We covered how to use size properly and how it makes things look in the hierarchy, as well as with color contrast and even font weight. So that's it for this video. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next lesson.